in us. Welcome everybody to Relationship Fun and Games
and Fights Clean Sex Dirty TV.
We're here with Jeremy and Novelina for episode 3 of season 4, the season of play, and we're here to talk about how to keep the fights clean as it starts.
Yes, you know, life is full and it gets stressful and we get caught up in the practical and the mundane, and every now and then, you know, we get a little hangry, a little cranky, and how can we take those moments when there's tension is rising and actually take it, not just to have it die down, not just to move past it, but to actually transmute that tension into actually connection and intimacy so that you're brought closer by those challenges in life, not pulled further apart.
So should we jump right in and tell people about our special guests today?
Let's introduce Jeremy and Novelina. Yes, Nichelle. Now they're in this interesting place. They have both been married. I know you guys are married, and that's why you're using, you know, the same last name. But I know in 2 weeks you're having a wedding celebration, and then you're going to have a few weeks after that another wedding celebration. So it's been a wonderful time, and it's a great time actually to have you on for this topic, because anyone who's been married knows how stressful planning a wedding can be. And I know you work together as well, you know, all over the world, you know, traveling and still managing to juggle your relationship, your business, and your own sense of well-being throughout it all. So thanks for being here for this important topic tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Jeremy and I are big proponents of wanting to spread love to as many couples as we possibly can in the world, and really be a stand for their partnership and give them as many tools that work for us to strengthen their love and their relationship.
Yeah, in many ways, I've said to Raj that it's actually gotten easier over the years. You know, we were so messy when we got married that at our engagement party, someone, a good friend, said, "I don't think you guys should do this." So, you know, and now we have strangers. Eyebrows raising, yeah. That's why a few years after we got married, people started saying, "You should do relationship work," because they saw from how messy we started to where we got to. And they're like, "What did you figure out?" It's not like we just got lucky and met each other. When people say, "Oh, I want a relationship like yours," I say, it didn't start out like this. You know, you have to actually put in the effort. But that's one of our secrets, is actually put in a little bit of effort, so it's not work, it's actually play. You want to spread it out over time. But why don't you tell us a little bit about you two as a couple, either how you met or a motto that you have to guide your relationship to this success so far?
Absolutely. I'll share first the motto, and then you can share how we met. If you
it's all Novelina. Just have to marry Novelina and everything's fine.
But one of our core values, and which is our guiding light in our life, is the statement of us wanting to make sure that whatever we're doing, creating, being, showing up in the world, and our daily action steps, is that we do it in a way where we're increasing love on the planet, one vibration and heart at a time. And so when it comes to the people in our lives, when it comes to the projects we take on, when it comes to how we're treating each other and our friends, that's all to increase love, the vibration of love on the planet, one heart at a time.
Yes, and what I love is you know that so well. I know you speak it, you walk it, you're sharing that, whether it be personally or professionally or romantically. That's just who you are in the world.
Awesome. And what was what has it been like for you guys? Give our viewers a little insight into, you know, the behind the scenes for Jeremy and Novelina, the good, the bad. Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, like we broke up several times. We had the ring on, the ring off. You know, did you start as friends? Has it been easy? You know, how have you made it through? Like, what has you be the successful couple you are today? Because everyone who's in love knows it's, you know, as we like to say, relationship, it's not all fun and games, but they sure do help. You know, there are some challenges. So.
Yeah, that one for me is actually easy. You know, I think the most important thing with anything in life, and especially in relationships, is clarity, and having and especially in a partner, what you want that partnership to look like, and then having the courage to not settle. So, you know, 10 years ago or so, I wrote down with a coach my pages of information and what it would look like, what we talked about, the types of things we would engage in, how we would help each other grow and nourish each other, and how we would support each other in our spiritual development. And one day I went on this secret cruise, and at this peak moment when I was dancing on the dance floor with Mark Hansen, all these guys, all of a sudden, boom, there's Novelina. And it just hit me, the energy about her, and I was like, wow, this is like a female Jeremy. It was just so funny. And we became amazing friends. I was in a relationship at the time, but I could tell there was like this. We became best friends instantly, to be honest. We'd stay up at night writing, our future goals under the stars while everyone was partying on the cruise ship, wake up alive and just feeling that, energy together. And, years went by and our paths crossed again. That was in 2008. And we started working together, and then we decided, a year after, to take our relationship to the next level. And what we did together was we life mapped together. So we got very clear on what our spirituality goals in life look like, our health, our relationships, our business, which we term greatness and contribution, and our lifestyle. And for us, it was amazing to see how, but before that, we were kind of in the same book. But as soon as we got clear on being honest and vulnerable, like, look, here's what I actually want in this area of my life. I'm just going to be open and be vulnerable and share with you everything. Once we did that, we went from the same book to the same page. And when a partnership or a business or anything, like when someone takes an action, it's for the benefit of the whole of the group, and it just feels so much more aligned, and you feel so much more loved and taken care of in every way. So we're on version 15 of our life.
Love that.
Yeah, it's been a trip.
Yeah, that's really great. Raj and I do an exercise called the shared relationship vision, where you look at all the areas of your relationship, how you want that to be as an ideal on your own, and then come together, see where they're aligned, where they're the same, and then we condense that into one paragraph we call our shared relationship vision. And we say that to each other every day so that you're not waiting for a problem to come up and that get your attention, but instead we declare every day, this is who we say we are as a couple, and we sense, so is there a gap between who we say we are? Is there like that's not quite so true when we say it, but yeah, having that clarity and making that declaration actually has you, you don't want to be a hypocrite, you want to bridge that gap and reach towards what you say it is, that picture that you're painting for your future.
Oh, I love that.
And honey, one other thing I just want to say, I love that it's a map. I've heard of Life Book before, which is a little bit like, getting into a story. I know it's a great program as well, but I like that it's like a map. It's like, okay, this is where directing ourselves, showing ourselves how to get from point A to B to Z in our relationship in this case.
Yeah, we literally, in all 30 seconds on that, we literally took the vision board process we created, what our whole next 200 years would look like, even beyond us, and what we're doing with our children and their children. So we call it like generational. And so we created a map, and Life Map stands for living in flow day, manifesting all possibilities. So it's definitely something we
say
really
that again.
about.
Your signal stuttered just a little bit. Say what that stands for again. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Life Map stands for live in flow every day, manifesting all possibilities.
Nice. I love it. Manifesting all possibilities. Wonderful. I like naming things and mnemonics and making it playful, so that's great.
This is the copy of our most recent life map, if you can see it. And every one of those boxes is, a goal or a mission or a piece of us. So this, like our 15th published version.
I love it. I think you're probably the only couple we've ever met that's actually more intentional and declared on their relationship goals than we've ever seen. We sit down 3 times a year and do our goals, but that is bravo. Super excited to see that. Well, we want to get into tonight's topic, so let's just, so welcome to you. Thank you so much for being here. So we're going to just share with our audience just a couple of minutes on how the content is organized for the show and the flow, and then dive into tonight's topic. So if you've watched the show before, you know that each week we alternate between how to keep the fights clean and the sex dirty. Because when we got married, that was the advice given to us. That's all you need to do.
Very smart person.
When to be naughty and when to be nice. Keep those two straight, you know. And as Raj and I like to say, save being nasty for your sex life. Way too many couples put up with being nasty in day-to-day life, and then way too vanilla in their sex life. We want to switch it up and bring the heat into where it should be, the tension to where it should be, not to where it shouldn't be. So this week we happen to be looking at the topic of how to keep the fights clean as it starts, because it's not just those two topics, but it's when to apply what tips, because what you're going to do when you're in the heat of it is very different than what you're going to do well in advance or after or even as it starts, as in the case tonight.
And if you are joining us live tonight, you can click on the button underneath the video player and join us live on the Hangout. And Sarah, our moderator, if you could confirm that that button is live, that would be great. And if you do join us live, you'll get our cheat sheet for free. And this is some of our top tips on how to keep the fights clean and the sex dirty. And we'll email that to you after the show.
It's nice to have a reference. We've actually had people say to us, oh, I was in the middle of the fight, pulled out my cheat sheet card on what do I do during the middle of an argument? Because you know, when we're the most upset is not when we're thinking the most clearly. Of course, we try and name the tips and keep them memorable and fun, so you can apply them just when you need them the most, but the cheat sheet never helps. That's why we call it a cheat sheet, right?
So let's just review some of our previous topics, previous shows on this particular topic quickly.
Yeah, the past 3 episodes. So we had how to manage moodiness and meltdowns, how to avoid argument on-ramps, and bust free of the blamey, shamey, complaining. And those were the tips of the Teflon suit, great minds think alike, and the drama-free diet. And all of those are also done in blog form. So you can always go and check out the website, relationshipfunandgames.com. So if this is a topic that you're struggling in your relationship right now, maybe you've come to watch this, if the replay this week, it might be months from now, but go ahead and explore, because there's all sorts of topics, all sorts of content for you just on this particular topic.
And you can dive right into the thing that you need the most. You know, if you're in the heat of an argument, you need some during a fight content. You don't have to search through all this information. You just go to that topic.
Or, you know, and sometimes it's you've had an argument and you haven't been able to come back together afterwards. That's always a nice one. How do you build those bridges again? But tonight, let's look at, really quickly, because we know that we're going to have lose Jeremy a little bit early tonight. So we're going to speed through this tip and just give you a taste of it. Again, you can see the video clip of the week as well by going to the Relationship Fun and Games YouTube website. But this tip, you know, Raj and I came up with this one about 1.5 years ago, and it totally changed how we handled stress that came up in our relationship. Used to be, it would go something kind of like, you know, I might have a tough day, or in his case, what really will set him off is like a computer or a tech issue. Something is, you know, something crashes or it's just not working properly, it's slow, internet issues, whatever it may be. And we get a little cranky and start taking things out on each other. And the common thing to say is something like,
get off my back.
Don't take your stress out on me. And usually that's a devolving, you know, it's a downward spiral and pulls you apart. So you can actually take those moments of tension and instead of letting them pull you apart, actually have them bring you together. And one way we came up with doing that is being playful and saying to your beloved when they're really, it's when they need love the most, is when they need it the most, when they deserve it the least. So if they're being nasty, just look at them with some genuine love and say, do you need some loving? Now, for some reason, this one makes me laugh hysterically. When Raj says this to me, I just start laughing. And if I'm in really bad shape, then I'll say, yes, I need lots and lots of loving, stat, emergency, high doses, now.
It's a loving.
But it just brings some awareness to this. You know, it's almost like it's shorthand for saying, go to the next slide, Raj, if you would, please. You know, it's shorthand, you know, for saying, sorry, the next slide always, actually, honey. But it's shorthand for saying, you know, we care about each other and we want to be there for each other. I can see you're having a tough time. There's a general displeasure that's getting directed towards me that doesn't feel so great, but I know it's not your intention to hurt me. I see you're under-resourced, you know, let me give you some love right now. Does that sound good? Is there any requests that you might have that I might help? And again, it's something that's pulling you apart that you can instead build some trust.
Yeah, we've probably all been down that path where someone gets upset with you and you get upset back at them, and then it's off to the races, and then you're in a full-blown argument. And this is in the as you start period because you can totally circumnavigate that from happening by just saying, "Do you need some loving?" And it brings you closer instead of wasting an entire evening or weekend in an argument. So I see you guys laughing and looking at each other a lot. What were you?
Does this sound at all familiar for you?
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
In there,
I love
right?
that though. I want to, Jeremy and I were talking. Jeremy just made a comment. It's like, hey, we can use that with some of our team members.
You need some love.
Use that really well with each other, but it's something that we could probably bring into our work environment as well.
Well, and the reality is, I'm glad you said that because Raj and I do often talk. We like to bring relationship principles to our business and business principles to our relationship. And the studies have shown you need 12 hugs a day for good mental health. So if someone's having a tough time, you know, putting it, do you need some loving, and give them a hug? Why not?
I love
Certainly
that.
your beloved.
12
yeah, 12 hugs a day for good mental health. That's what research shows.
Okay, so we're going to quickly do our action option, and then we're going to turn the focus to Jeremy and Evelina's tips before they have to head out. So our action option.
Yes, now just for those of you who haven't seen the show before, we always like to not just give you an idea, not just a tip, but really encourage you to take action, because an aha moment is wonderful, but if you don't put it in action and really make it a habit and a new normal, then it's just not going to make a difference for your relationship. So just notice a moment when there's some tension and when that's being taken out on you by your beloved. And if you can sense when you have any triggers, your defensive reaction, just kind of bite your tongue. Don't say it. As we like to say, put on the Teflon suit. Hold the trash can out for your beloved. Just soften and ask them, do you need some loving? You can be playful. And then just listen to their response and if they have any requests. And then, of course, do everything in your power to be there for them. And when you do that, again, you build trust. And it up-levels the quality of relating between the two of you, because one day soon, you're probably going to need them to do the same thing for you.
Okay, awesome. Well, now on to Evelina and Jeremy.
Yes. You started already, you mentioned a bit before about your life map agreements, but we have all three of your tips here, and of course, you're welcome to free flow wherever your inspiration takes us, but the audience does have this slide right now, too.
Very cool. I'll start with the life map agreements, and then you can add to it. And I chatted about our process, our life map agreements, and all of our friends, and I'm sure some of your friends were at Burning Man. We've spent our time actually in our creative workshop and diving into what do we want to create for ourselves the next 2+ years beyond this physical body being here. And so our life map agreements really come from a section and defining what our relationship is going to look like and be like and what we both desire. And a piece of that, when we're looking at the whole relationship, is the partnership and our communication styles. So, you know, Jeremy and I are both supporters on the wealth dynamics models. We're both high eyes on the DISC model. You know, we know what our wishes are. So we've actually spent some time really crafting ways that we know are powerful for us to communicate to each other so that we really listen and hear each other and things that when we're expressing ourselves really importantly. So I call those the light even starts. We've already talked into a fight before we even have a fight so that we know kind of what our tools are to actually move through that energy. And if there is a disagreement,
what do you call those?
Our life map agreements.
Oh, I thought there was a different name that I had heard that you what you called them. Never, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they're just our own creation, our own tools. We call them our life hacks. And around our communication, because we've taken so much time in design is, what our astrology is in each other, what the wealth dynamics model is, what the DISC model is. These are all variations of different types of communication tools that we've really already created a space where we've talked about the fight before the fight's even started. So
yes.
if I'm getting triggered, you know, Jeremy and I have you know, created languaging for each other that says, do I have permission to support you right now with where you're at and move you to a higher vibration. So it's always asking about permission, and can I support you in moving your energy to the next feeling to get you to a better feeling space, you know? And so that's partly what I take away whenever something comes up, he's triggered, and just my own, as a owning my strengths of nurturing and loving, and just knowing that he's my king, and even if I may be frustrated, you know, always honoring him and looking at him as, you know, he's frustrated, but it has nothing to do with me, in the sense that he's trying to provide something. So can I like see clearly and take pause and be silent and allow it not to flow through me in a personal way, where I'm upset at him, and then, you know, that energy going back and forth doesn't really serve our life. Due to shift my energy and take responsibility for how I'm feeling based on what he might be going through.
You know, on that note too, for all the women out there, from a guy's perspective, I just want to share how powerful it is if you can get to a place to really honor and support your man, to during an argument, a disagreement, and being able to just hold space for multiple points of view. The amount of safety and security it creates for guys to open up more, to know that they can actually share openly and honestly their feelings, is super, super, super powerful. And what it's created in our relationship is a lot of depth. So, you know, just Novelina's ability to not react, but really just respond, even in a peak emotional state, has been one of the biggest increasing connection points in our relationship, which I've never experienced before. So if you want to get a deeper relationship with your man, let him feel safe in discussions, because women are, you know, tend to be more emotional, and men more logical, tend to be. Sometimes we switch roles on that, but
well, I don't know if you know who Osho is, but he has said men are stupid and women are crazy. And he could totally at the extreme and meant to provoke, and as he liked to do. But you know, Raj and I like to remember that when I'm like, why didn't you see that? And he's like, you know, and I'm just getting totally, you know, crazy over. We call it you're going to kill the baby. Like, we don't even have a baby, and if there's a dirty dish, I have it that like one day we're going to have a baby, the bottle's going to be dirty, and the baby's going to get sick and die. You know, we can make these crazy leaps from like one behavior, a meaning, you know, make that meaning. So yeah, that's what we can be a little crazy. You're going to kill the baby that doesn't exist.
Awesome. Love that. So before you have to jump off, maybe you could say a little bit more about these other two, always making the other person right and tapping into the other person's higher self.
Yes, being right is such
Absolutely.
a temptation. Show us how we can make it a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been something that Jeremy and I actually do naturally, but have been better at it, is whenever we are in our own heads about stuff, and we're emotionally triggered by anything that's going on. He did that, and I'm responding, or I'm upset about that. Like, we pause and we go, how can we actually speak in a way that is clearly in a loving tone, and it's supporting him always to make him right. So even if I feel like he's kind of stepped on my toes, or he's doing something that is making me feel less than, going, you know, wait a minute, there's something right about this situation, and there's something right about what we're learning together. So always looking at like, no, everything is perfect in this moment, and you know, I know what your goals are, and I know how much you're loving me and caring about me, so I'm going to look for what's right in this. I'm going to focus on that. I'm not going to focus on the other stuff that's my ego, my mind kind of running rampant, and focus on like, how is he right in this situation? And that gets you to a new creative point of how to think about the argument.
That was good.
So that's what that
It's like another level of standing in the other person's shoes and getting their perspective. So yeah. Love that.
Yeah, our friend Jennifer Russell says, I use the word beloved, but your beloved, you know, their desires mean something good about them. So whatever's going on for them, and her husband really treats her moods and even a look on her face. I call it the golden finger, you know, because even the slightest displeasure from her, and he's paying attention, like, you know, he assumes that this is something good. He trusts her and knows that her opinions, you know, is some like valuable information to have, not like some nag that's bothering him.
Okay, awesome. And
Absolutely.
again,
And I just want
go ahead. Yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to add, you know, for all you ladies out there too, you know, Jeremy's done a really great job, and because we've both been able to openly communicate, you know, we do have that rapid, you know, mind, and sometimes we think our thoughts crazy, but we don't want to talk about the fact that we might think our thoughts are a little crazy, and we're dynamically thinking around all these things with our emotions. And so I just started to like call things and label things, and Jeremy was super receptive to it. I go, like, I've got a lot of thoughts going on, and I feel like if I express them to you, you're going to think I'm a little crazy. He's like, no. He's like, why don't you express them to me and just say them in whatever chronicle order you can? I'm like, well, then when I thought about this, it jumped me to this thought, and then I thought about this. And he's like, wow. He's like, I could totally see how you would think that. And that just ups like the level. So for all you men out there, if you're open to hearing from your woman when she's kind of going through those moments, and you're not going to make her wrong for it, and you're just willing to hear what's processing for us, because we do jump from emotion to emotion, and just being open, not trying to solve anything for us in that moment, just allowing this garbage to kind of come out, then you can create such a safe and opening space for your woman to be so taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Love it. Okay, so why don't you just wrap up with tapping into the other person's higher self? I know that you have a meeting to run off to.
Yes.
Tapping into the person's higher self. Well, it's our belief, and we, you know, kind of experience this from moment to moment, that the more we're resonating together, the more we're literally finishing each other's thoughts and thinking, finishing sentences, etc. And it really gets to the point where you feel like you're just kind of sharing. We call it kind of like sharing, you know, like a soul partnership. So we've kind of learned to distinguish our own language around what may be our ego versus our higher self, and we relate to each other in that way, such that, you know, if Jeremy's ego is coming up and he's frustrated about this and that may be fine. What's the lesson in it for Jeremy's little ego, and how can you relate to Jeremy as, you know, his higher self, which is ultimately, you know, what we feel we're here to do is continue to progress our higher selves. Yeah, I'd love to hear your take on it.
And I want to add to that in the sense of everything he said, and then also because we're so close and so engaged in what we're creating, if something's coming up for Jeremy and there's a trigger for him, I look at him as my mirror. So I'm like, okay, obviously there's a reflection in him and something that maybe I'm wanting to bring up and heal. So we look at each other's triggers in a way to go, wow, like, how are we relating to each other that trigger got brought up? How do I heal it for you and heal it for me, so that we both don't ever have to experience that trigger again? Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of what, you know, we're here to constantly support each other, clear karma, get to the highest version of ourselves in this lifetime, and do that in a way that's loving and fun and playful and blissed out and exciting all at the same time.
Yeah, you know, what I'm hearing from you is that you two are really modeling and putting into play in different ways. We call them games that you're playing, to bring in what John Gottman, you know, he's one of the top relationship researchers out there, and he says that the two key elements are commitment, and I feel like that real partnership between the two of you, and care, you know, just that genuine, you care about each other's experience. Raj and I have a wedding vow. I promise to care about your experience and happiness, even when it conflicts with my own. And I really sense that between the two of you, that commitment and that care. So I know you've been together for a number of years, but I know you're only just getting married now, but I anticipate a long, playful, happy relationship. And the world needs more love, so thank you for modeling that and for sharing your relationship wisdom with us today, and with couples out there and single people that are proactively watching this, you know, to get ready for that next relationship.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's so sweet. Thank you very much. I really feel that. I appreciate that.
Thank you for having us on your show. It's been fun.
Yeah, you guys are great.
You're welcome. And for the viewers on the show, we're going to stay on for another 20 minutes or so. We have a few more things to share with you, but we're going to sign off with Novelina and Jeremy now. So have a great evening, you guys.
And yeah, you have a great evening. And everyone else, if you stay on, you want to know more about Jeremy and Novelina, we'll have some URLs where you can find out about her work, the Total Female Package, which is just such a great name, and the work that she does with women out there in the world. So we'll let you know more about that. So good luck on your wedding. Enjoy it. Every step, hope it goes in slow motion for you so you can savor every little bit.
That would be great.
I love that slow motion.
I like that.
Thank you, Gabby.
Yes, when my dad and I were at the front of the aisle about to walk down the aisle to get married, he got all nervous and he said, "What's our pace?" And I just that day was so peaceful. I thought I was going to be all nervous. I was so peaceful, and I looked at my dad and said, "Enjoy every step." That's the pace. So may that be the pace of your wedding, that you enjoy every step.
Aw, thank you so much.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
All right,
Have
take
a
care.
great show.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Now.
And for those of you still with us on the call, we're going to go ahead and share a few other resources with you, especially if you want to join us live and ask any of your questions. Jeremy and Novelina have to run, but we are here, and as you know, we really care about, great, there's our topic, but what is it that you most want to know about? But if you want to know more about Novelina, as I mentioned before, the totalfemalepackage.com is her website. And you can find Jeremy on Facebook at facebook.com/jnichelle. That's Nichele. And of course, you can always find out more about us and the work we do with Fights Clean Sex Dirty TV on relationshipfunandgames.com.
And if you've joined us live here and you want to jump into the Hangout with us, just click the button below the video player on the webpage that you're on. And you can come into the Hangout Live and we'll answer any questions that you have.
And make sure to give you a copy of the cheat sheet so that you get that resource as well.
And if that button isn't working, just refresh your browser window and that should make it live.
So stay tuned for next week. We're going to be moving back into the how to keep the sex dirty topic, this time as it starts. And we're going to be talking with Zipporah Kingsbury. I had a really great call with her last week. Just so delighted to have her join us. If you're looking in your relationship right now, for most couples, at least after the first couple of years, it can start to slide off. It can become what we hear most commonly is stale, it's predictable, it's boring. You start to get drawn away from each other. All of the practical elements of life kind of get in the way, maybe some argument residue build up. But if you want to keep it fresh and fun and flirty, if you are eager for some arousal, then join us for some tips on timing, temptation, and teasing, all in the realm of how to keep the sex dirty as it starts a week from today on Wednesday at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time.
Awesome. Okay. And as this quote says, a little forethought can lead to a fabulous sex life. Sometimes we just expect our sex life to be on autopilot. And generally, that's an autopilot to nowhere. And so if you put a little, as Gabby likes to say, intention, attention, and action into your sex life, it doesn't have to be a lot. Just even a little will really move things forward for you. And
if we're one of those who's saying, oh, it's not that big a deal, we're kind of past that point, just remember there's so many benefits to having a healthy, happy, and hot sex life. For your relationship, for those around you, for your health, for your body and your well-being, and certainly, for pleasure's sake, right? So join us next week as we dive in how to keep the sex dirty as it starts.
So we want to tell you about a couple of our free gifts and also a couple of programs that we have that you can do if you like what we're showing here on the show today. And our first thing is our Relationship Reset Kit.
Yes, so we just want to say thank you, and we don't want money to be a barrier for people. So this is some of our best resources, absolutely for free for you. Our 4-part email mini course, which you may already be on if you're watching the show, but perhaps not. You also get the Fights Clean and Sex Dirty free guidebook. That's 16 pages of some of our top tips and tools and techniques. Plus, you get access to these shows, the weekly interactive Fights Clean Sex Dirty TV shows and the replays. And you can get access to all of that by going to relationshipfunandgames.com/get-free-gifts-main. So we hope you can snap that up. And just to give you a little bit of a heads up, We do have our fast track coming in the coming weeks. Raj, you want to jump into that one?
Let's talk about that one in a second. If you want to go a little bit more deeply into the different topics that we're talking about in terms of fights clean and sex dirty, we have our 62-page ebook on how to keep the fights clean and the sex dirty, the 5 simple steps to solutions that really satisfy.
And this is, sorry, go ahead.
What we're really focusing on here is how do you identify the things that you're doing that don't work in terms of fighting and sex, and then translate and shift those things into things that really satisfy, those things that work, that will have your sex life be amazing and have your fighting actually lead to more intimacy than less. Okay, and you can get that at this URL here, and our moderator will post that in the chat window. Okay, relationshipfunandgames.com/ebook.
Yes, and as I had mentioned just before, the coming soon, if you're interested in all 8 topics, right now you can only get 1 topic at a time on Fights Clean Sex Dirty TV, but if you want to get the fast track and get the best from all 8 topics from last year, then we have those pulled all together for you in one package, and that'll be coming next week. So keep your eyes out for that. You'll want to be in on this so you can really take keeping the fights clean and the sex dirty to another level, all on your own time when it works best for you.
And if you want to be notified of when we are going to make that available, you can just go to this URL and opt in there, and we'll keep you notified of when this is happening. So Sarah, if you could put that in the comment window as well.
So thank you so much for joining us and being on the show tonight. A playful, peaceful, passionate relationship. It's possible. It's worth it. You deserve it. And we're here to make it easier and more fun. So snap up our free stuff, jump in on the fast track, or just let us know. You can even just go to our website, take our survey, and let us know how we can best support you, because we care and we want you to have a playful, peaceful, passionate relationship.
Have a good evening, and we hope to see you on our next episode, where we're going to look at how to keep the sex dirty as it starts.
Yes, take care. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.